Professor Sethulego Matebesi from the University of the Free State joining me now from Bloemfontein, Komangaung in the Free State. Prof, good afternoon. Can I begin there first, where Governor and I just ended his report now this hour on all angles. Reshuffle, ANC saying they've not yet been consulted and they're not expecting a cabinet reshuffle, but we in the media have been speculating about it for quite some time. I don't know if you heard me articulating some of the reasons that have made us to think it's time for a cabinet reshuffle. But of course, the president has got the prerogative. What are your thoughts on that?
Prerogative aside, Dan, good afternoon to you and to South Africans. As I've indicated, prerogative aside, the president has to act. There's never been so much pressure on a sitting president of South Africa where the public in one voice say, now is the time to reshuffle the cabinet. And we all know, you correctly stated the reasons for that. We can't have a situation where you've got a security cluster which even when they had an opportunity to discuss this behind the scene, they still come out after having slept on the job to have public space around or public disagreements about what emanated in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. So definitely there is huge pressure on the president to show leadership, and by showing leadership, and that is to at least act against the ministers in the security cluster, and also bring a better permanency to the acting positions, as you've correctly stated.
Okay, fine. Thanks for your insights there. We called you to analyze what the ANC was going to be talking about its approach to the local government elections, which are set now for October. Of course, we're still waiting for that Concord decision, as the IEC will go there, but a possible postponement to up to February next year. The ANC announcing that for the first time since the dawn of democracy, on its candidate list, it will allow the communities in the various locations to choose their candidate, who may not necessarily be a sitting member or a current active card-carrying member of the African National Congress. And then if there's an agreement with the community at that point, and the said candidate is willing to then don the colors, the black, green and gold colors of the ANC, they will then stand. That's a very interesting adaptation from the old of saying we only take people we've known who've got struggle credentials.
Dan, while you were talking behind the scenes, I was actually smiling because this, for me, it's very significant. It's a huge departure from what we have known. But believe me or not, this is going to create a lot of problems. Firstly, you've got an ANC which cannot, on any normal day, cannot even deal with its own registered members. And whenever it comes to elections, whether it's your national and provincial elections, and particularly your local government elections, that's where the problem is. This issue of gatekeeping. What is going to happen to those members, long-standing African National Congress members who also have aspirations? Some of them have been councillors forever, to continue to be councillors. The whole notion that I've been around along, and suddenly, yeah, you've got Dan coming in, irrespective of how popular he is now becoming an ANC member on the day of the meeting, and suddenly a couple of months later becoming the official representative of the ANC at local government level. That is it's actually calling for a lot of constant station within the African National Congress, as if the ANC or not already has a lot of problems of its own.
So you think it will be a headache even if it's the local community and the ANC can stand back and look at the rest of those members who've been around for a long time and say, but I'm sorry, member, they don't want you. The community wants that person, and we want to make sure that there is trust in the community and that they believe that this candidate will deliver.
Well, then, if the ANC is a well-oiled machine, they should already have started identify those individuals that should join the ANC. Remember, I have done research in many areas of South Africa where good standing members of the African National Congress suddenly became non-members, who are not, in good standing because of this whole notion of gatekeeping. Now, the question is, remember, these perceptions about somebody is popular will never, feature prominently for those individuals who have personal aspirations. The ANC has become a vehicle for personal advancement, a vehicle to access to resources. Do you now suddenly think that those long-standing members of the African National Congress will just take a backseat? All these issues that is currently happening with the African National Congress. I would say the elephant in the room has always been the tender system, power, access to resources, and all these issues come to play when we talk about local government elections. And I don't foresee a situation where the current ANC members will just openly embrace such a notion, irrespective of what a certain community believes in terms of the capabilities of certain individuals in that individual. If the ANC recruitment drive, it's a well-oiled machine, they will well in advance already identify such members.
Yeah, and I guess we're going to have to wait and see how, now that they've pronounced on it, I mean, Kgalema Motlanthe and Jesse Duarte talking about that approach, how they are going to mobilize and garner support within their ranks for that kind of approach, if you foresee those kind of problems. The other issue about these local government elections, they're taking place in a different climate. They are taking place under the pandemic. That's a different global health climate, but they're also going to be taking place under a climate where we are coming out of one of the worst violent episodes this republic has witnessed since the dawn of democracy in 1994. And even today, Jesse Duarte, the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, talking about this SMS that they have seen, and they've alerted the law enforcement agencies, the police, to act, and they are hoping for some arrests soon. Now, that climate, because it looks like there's more troublemaking in the works, is a climate that might force many political parties, including the ANC, maybe to rethink their messaging around these elections, Prof. I mean, if you were advising the ANC or any other political party at this time, knowing what you know from your research that you've done in different parts of South Africa, what would be the issues to hone in on? Not just the umbrella ones of poverty and inequality, but the real stuff that you think this recent violence has exposed?
Well, first of all, I don't think any South African should actually align themselves to say we should postpone the elections on the basis of what happened recently, because then we will be giving into criminal elements. And it's just said, the very same leaders of the so-called release, the former president, are members of the ANC, some of them. They also have aspirations that at least one of them should lead in future. The question is, will they want to lead under the same conditions? But coming back to your question about the election, it is about time. We do have the processes, we do have the systems at local government level, if you look at the policies of engagement and all that, but there seems to be a huge vacuum. We just need to do the basics. I've told in other platforms, for the very first time, I learned that I am a member of a political party in good standing when I got an SMS encouraging me to attend a meeting. And it's all these things to say that I don't understand more than 2 decades of democracy, even the opposition parties included. They have still not mastered how to engage with South Africans. They wait a couple of months before the election and only now make attempts. And that's why people are very suspicious about the conduct of political parties, let alone the political leaders.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Sethulego Matebesi from the University of the Free State, for some of the political analysis about the local government elections, and just post that briefing by the ANC a short while ago.